Yo, what's up, guys? As you all can see by the title or the thumbnail or whatever made you click on this video today, I'm going to be making my predictions of the NFL wildcard round. This playoffs looks like it will be yet another promising one. While I might just be saying that because of Rihanna being set to perform at the Super Bowl Apple Music halftime show, well, let's first have a moment of silence for Pepsi. The matchups also seem to look promising. So the first matchup to kick off the playoffs is the Seahawks versus the Niners. So while everyone has pretty much wrote off the Seahawks' ability to win this game, the Niners have been hot to close out the season behind their run game, defense, and sudden emergence, if you want to call it that, of the 2022 draft's Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. In 4 of their last 5, they have also scored over 35 points. And the game that they didn't win, Brock was dealing with some injuries, but that game was also versus the Seahawks, who have held their past 4 opponents to under 24 points, as they seem to step it up on that side of the ball towards the end of the season. Some concerns for the Niners are their pressure because it is a divisional matchup. They've won 2-0 in the season series, but they also did that versus the Rams last year. And of course, we all know that they lost last year as the Rams were the Super Bowl champions. It kind of gave the Rams like a game plan to stop their offense that they've been playing against throughout the whole season, as they held the Niners rushing attack to just 50 rushing yards. And finally, the fact that Brock Purdy is going to be the first rookie quarterback drafted in the 7th round to start a playoff game, and the last rookie quarterback to win a playoff game hasn't happened since Russell Wilson back in 2012. But even with all these, I do expect the Niners to win. I believe that their D-line will be too much for the Seahawks O-line. I think that they'll continue to ride their great offensive streak, but due to bad weather that's currently being reported right now, I think that benefits them and their rushing attack as well. So I'll take the Niners to win the first matchup in the 2023 playoffs. The next matchup on the day is the Chargers versus the Jaguars, which I don't think will be too competitive. The Jags offense has been subpar, and their defense has looked better, but they've been going against the stunning quarterback line of Joshua Dobbs, Zach Wilson, and Davis Mills in their final 3 games to close out the season. So they haven't really dealt with much adversity. Even though Jacksonville ranks as one of the worst pass defenses in football versus the gunslinger of a quarterback, Justin Herbert, it clearly won't bode well for them. And the Chargers have been dealing with some injuries and are susceptible to the run game, but I have them easily winning this matchup as the Jaguars don't have a good enough defense to stop the gunslinging of Justin Herbert. So, yeah, I got the Chargers in this one. Next up on the slate is the Dolphins and the Bills, another divisional matchup and another 7th rounder set to start at quarterback. Prior to the win, the Dolphins versus the Jets in Week 18, which was a sneaky win in itself, they were on a 5-game losing streak. Their offense doesn't look good at all without Tua being out, who still remains in concussion protocol in a battle that seems like has lasted the entire season. The Bills, on the other hand, have been one of the best teams behind a blistering pass offense that stars one of the best quarterbacks and receivers. But this time they also have a pretty great defense to back it. So obviously I don't have the Dolphins in this one. I have the Bills winning this one pretty easily. The Giants and Vikings is one of the most interesting matchups of the wildcard round. They played recently in Week 16, and it was a great matchup that ended in a 61-yard game-winning field goal. This highlights a narrative for the Vikings all year and them being a whopping 11-0 in single-score finishes, meaning under 7 points and below, that they've won every single time. I figure this game to be the same because the Giants just don't have enough firepower to really blow out a team like the Vikings. They lack pass catchers, and unless Saquon Barkley can go off for a great game, I just don't see it happening. While the defensive line is headlined by Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams versus an O-line that hasn't really been good, they're missing their starting right tackle as well, and Brian O'Neill. So I think that the Giants will be able to get to Kirk Cousins because their line, like I said, just isn't good, and they're missing their right tackle. And Kirk Cousins, he does kind of make me scared because obviously everyone knows he can't show up in primetime games, and he has a 1-3 record in the playoffs. But for some reason, my gut is telling me the Vikings do it again and pull off an improbable win versus the Giants at their home field, and they're just more trustworthy to me. I mean, I can't bet on a team that has Daniel Jones under center and no pass catchers. I don't understand how the Giants could possibly just kill the Vikings in a blowout game. And like I said, the Vikings seem to win in close matchups. So I'm going to go with their narrative and make the Vikings the winner in this one, going 12-0. In matchups under 7 points and below. So the Ravens and the Bengals would have been more interesting if Lamar Jackson was able to go out there, but he took to Twitter to confirm that he can't go, and he's being sad about how he can't go. And with that, I have the Bengals winning. Their run game has been slowed down, and their O-line will feature 2 backups in this matchup, but I still don't see the Ravens having what it takes to pull off a win in this divisional matchup behind Huntley, who hasn't really been impressive. Although I don't think it'll be like a crazy blowout, and the Ravens somehow always seem to have a good defense, good defensive scheme, and a good rushing attack, no matter the matchup or who's under center. But as I said, the Bengals will win this game, and they'll be too much for the short-handed Ravens to overcome. Last but certainly not least, the Bucs versus the Cowboys. This may be the most watched game of this round, and the Cowboys, despite them being 12-5 and the Bucs being 8-9, will be heading to Raymond James Stadium due to the Bucs winning their weak division that has the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons. While many are probably inclined to go with Tom Brady and just leave it there, in my opinion, that will be a grave mistake. The Buccaneers have not been good this season, just to be blunt. They cannot run the ball whatsoever. They're honestly one of the worst rushing attacks that I've ever seen because their inability to run the ball. And with that, the Cowboys' best defensive trait is their pass rush and their playmakers, which will not favor the Bucs because, like I said, they can't really trick the Cowboys into doing a run play because they don't really have a really good play action. They also can't run the ball, so the Cowboys don't have to bite on any play action they may do. I feel like that favors the Cowboys in this one, and their pass rush will be able to get to Tom Brady if their O-line doesn't hold up. We know Tom Brady can't move around as well as he's like 50 years old. So the Cowboys secondary will have some trouble trying to guard Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but they have the playmakers in Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs to combat this. The Bucs have struggled to score pretty much all year. And while the Cowboys have looked worse in recent weeks, they're still a team that has a good offense and a good defense. Dak will have to protect the ball, obviously, as he's been on this abysmal interception streak, and their defense will have to play up to par. But overall, the Cowboys are the better team, and it's going to be their game to lose. If they can get off to a lead, they will fare well in this game because they're much better in playing with leads than trailing. I choose the Cowboys to win this game, and with that being said, that will conclude this video, man. If you got to this point, I really do appreciate you, and I hope you come back for more content. Let me know what your predictions are in the comment section. Let me know where I went wrong. Please like and share and tell your friends to subscribe. But I'm out. Peace.